Greetings everyone, hey, how you doing? It's Matt Sella here, and today I'm joined here with a very special friend of mine to talk about this epic episode of DuckTales. It's Marc.
I'm back, baby.
He's back and in charge, sort of.
What an episode to come back to after all this time.
Oh my goodness, no, I love this episode. Spoilers already. This is a great episode.
Spoilers already. Might be one of, if not the best episodes of this reboot, if not at least season 2.
And Marc, you are absolutely right. Today we are reviewing season 2, episode 16 of DuckTales, dubbed
The Duck Knight Returns. And if you don't get that reference, I can't help you because there's going to be a lot of them in this episode.
And my goodness, if you don't get it, then you've probably been living under a rock for the last 20 years.
Right? Kind of. Which is sad because I think at that point you haven't even seen the original Darkwing Duck then. I don't know.
That's true.
Darkwing might be older than 20 years old now.
Oh, no, he is.
Oh, God, that's a horrifying thought.
Oh, wait, no. I don't know. We're not going to worry about that just yet.
No, not just yet, because we still got to talk about the episode.
Absolutely. So, warning ahead, folks. This is a spoiler review. And normally I'd say, if you haven't seen the episode, I'll try to skirt around the ending. But not this time, Marc.
No, we'll give you the brief synopsis here now, but we're going full steam ahead on spoilers, because if you wow. I think, without spoiling it ahead of us saying we're not going to spoil it just quite yet. Wow.
Yeah, so you've been warned. Spoilers are definitely ahead.
Full steam ahead.
So, Marc, why don't you give us the premise of this episode for those who are still curious?
Well, I'm glad you asked, Matt. Our good pals Launchpad and Dewey are off to an opening of a sofa store where famed Darkwing Duck actor Jim Starling is opening it because, well, his career's kind of rock bottom.
Wah, wah.
And apparently Launchpad also has been passing out all this time when he's gone to meet Jim and never gotten his autograph. It's there Dewey finds out that Darkwing Duck is trending along with some other fan who's trying to get an autograph. They go, Launchpad drives them in a limo off to the studio only to find out, of course, the studio is owned by Uncle Scrooge himself and that they're making a gritty live action reboot of something Launchpad loved as a child. And those are always great.
That was a great little...
It was.
That was a great line.
Thank you, Matt. I'm paid by the hour, by the word. I'm paid by everything.
You are a very rich man duck.
I am a very rich man duck.
Scrooge,
not a duck man.
Scrooge is jealous, as if
he is, and it's very petty of him. We then find out that Jim hasn't been cast in the role, of course, and this leads to, of course, what Darkwing Duck would do is gets really jealous and attempts to have Launchpad lock the fan who's playing him away in his trailer so that then Jim Starling can take on the role and be the hero and everyone will love him again. And that's just all he really wants while, dodging security guards and shoving people into broom closets very violently.
Absolutely. And so that is generally the episode.
Yeah.
So what did we think of this? Well,
it might just be the single greatest episode I've ever seen in my life.
Hands down, bar none. Now, I'm going to warn...
but Matt, before we're getting so far ahead of ourselves, we didn't even acknowledge the special intro. The intro is completely truncated for this episode because there's so much going on that they just didn't want to waste the time with the theme song, which is sad. I know it's a great theme song, but the DuckTales logo is in the same purple as the Darkwing Duck logo, and that right off the bat, yes.
I know, absolute win. I thought that was really cute. I feel like they should have done that with the previous episode, but we're not here to talk about that. We're here to talk about this.
Yeah, we're here in the present.
So yeah, as I was saying, warning, at least for myself, I can't speak on Marc's behalf, but I will admit I do have a Darkwing Duck biased. I really loved that property as a kid. That was like my favorite of the Disney cartoons at the time.
Of the Disney afternoon, yes.
Yeah, exactly. And DuckTales, as well as like maybe Goof Troop, and that was about it for me.
Mm-hmm.
But it's mostly dark. So I will admit, my love for this episode mostly stems to the fact that I love Darkwing Duck and what this may do for us in the future.
Oh yeah, because there's even a reference to there was a Darkwing Duck comic book series even before the more recent one that sadly got canceled. I think kind of around the time, maybe it was around the time Disney bought Marvel. I don't remember exactly. Don't quote me on it. It was a really great series. But I thought it was actually more of a reference to the Disney Adventure magazine that had a bunch of the afternoon shows as comics in it. There's a reference to that and how because the fan's room, who we'll get to his name in a minute, his trailer, I should say, is just lousy with all kind of stuff. It's just some of this I feel like maybe is just, nods and references. But then there were some things like, I recognize that poster. I recognize that toy. Wait a minute. This is legit Darkwing Duck merch.
Now, I think the writers of this episode definitely had a appreciation for that property.
Well, I think that shows just even throughout this reboot so far, because like they've changed plenty of things from the source material, whether you count the source material as the comic books or the original cartoon itself, but like it's all worked just because I think unlike some other reboots of classic quote unquote cartoons we've seen recently, which there seems to have been a lot of them lately, this just feels like a genuine labor of love. It doesn't come across as like a, I don't know, just like a something someone threw up on a spreadsheet being like
a nostalgic cash grab.
Yeah, it doesn't feel like that.
Yeah, I hate using that word, but I feel like there's some more truth to that than
others in some cases.
Yeah, exactly.
Because like, let's be honest, anything ever made in the entertainment industry is a cash grab.
Yeah, it's made to make money.
It is show business, but there's some that are clearly more cynically made than others.
Yeah. And there's passionate people behind this cash grab, so
yeah, this is the cash grab where I'm saying shut up and take my money.
Yeah, exactly. So there's plenty to talk about with this episode, and like I said, we're in full spoilers here. Mm-hmm. I thought it was really great because on our old previous channel, I mentioned how much I was kind of apprehensive of how they were approaching Darkwing Duck as this property, because as we were watching DuckTales, I was like, I wouldn't mind them doing a reboot for Darkwing Duck. Mm-hmm. But then they made it a TV show kind of doing
within the universe.
Yeah, kind of like a Simpsons Futurama vibe. Mm-hmm. And that kind of made me sad because I wanted them to hang out or do whatever or something. Mm-hmm. And I feel really dumb because, like I said, I'm a big fan of Darkwing Duck. And when we first saw this incarnation of the character in the DuckTales universe, he was called Jim Starling.
Yeah, a reference to Jim Cummings.
Yeah.
The voice actor.
And
who still got it. Oh. If not, he's aged like a fine wine.
He has, like that. Because I remember I was saying before where it's like Jim Cummings, he sounds amazing back then. As Darkwing Duck now, he sounds even better.
Oh yeah, he's just improved. Like there's some voice actors where after a while, maybe they've gotten a little long in the tooth, who knows? And sometimes it even comes down to whoever is, the director of the recordings. But I'm like, Jim almost felt more Darkwing in this than he did in the original series. It is crazy. And I think he just himself really loves the character from what I've seen in interviews. So, I mean, this must have been fun for him too.
Oh, absolutely. And so on to my point, I didn't really put two and two together that Darkwing Duck's character, or at least his non-superhero form, is called Drake Mallard.
Yeah.
But what's interesting is I wasn't really paying attention to how Darkwing Duck was presented in this universe. Mm-hmm. They never gave him a name. They never showed Gosling, what he did for a living, anything outside of him just being in the Darkwing Duck costume.
I think they did say he was the actor Jim Starling.
No. I know that. I'm saying like they didn't say his name was Drake Mallard when he was not being.
Yeah, there was no reference to any of that stuff.
So with the way this episode ended in such a way that we're introducing actual Drake Mallard, who is a fan of Darkwing Duck.
Who is the fan who was playing him in the reboot.
Yeah, exactly. And we'll get more into that later. I want to kind of sum up here real quick, is that I underestimated how much this show actually gave me, or lack of giving me, information to actually set up a viable origin of Darkwing Duck actually existing in this universe, while at the same time kind of showcasing maybe the superficial look of him to satisfy fans, but say like, oh wait, there's more.
No, yeah, and if that isn't almost the calling card of this reboot, I don't know what is. But we should give we were singing the praise of Jim Cummings, and we always will. Don't you ever worry about that. That man is a national treasure as far as I'm concerned.
Oh hell yeah!
But we really must give a shout out to the actor who was playing Drake Mallard in this reboot, and who I don't know if they do a Darkwing Duck spinoff, if he would keep voicing her, or if it would come back to Jim. But Chris Diamantopoulos, I apologize if you butchered your last name, Chris. You, sir, when you were playing Drake, you sounded great, and you did a great job as that performance. When Drake stepped into the Darkwing Duck role, there were moments where I was second guessing if they were having Jim Cummings voicing Drake as well in this episode.
Yeah.
He was on point, and I say that with the utmost respect and compliment, sir.
I think so too. And you know what's kind of funny about the guy, Drake Mallard, the actor in this universe? He kind of reminded me of Ryan Reynolds in a sense that this character, I'm talking about the character, really cares about the source material that he's playing in this episode.
Mm-hmm.
That I mean, I even like his whole moral background,
Mm-hmm.
where he read the comics as a kid.
Mm-hmm.
He always liked the fact that no matter how much Darkwing Duck would get beaten down, he would always get up.
Mm-hmm.
And he actually incorporated that into his life, Drake Mallard.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the whole reason why he wanted to play this role in the movie originally.
Mm-hmm.
And even afterwards, he's like, I dedicate my life to this character. It stinks that we're not going to get a movie, but
Mm-hmm.
I still believe in everything that Darkwing Duck represents.
Mm-hmm.
So I really like that. That's
And
his
he's better than Gizmo Duck.
Yeah, that too, which I heard, apparently we were checking the trivia. That's a nod to one of the comics that he said.
One of the comics, and I think even in a few of the episodes, I remember correctly. I do remember Darkwing Duck and Gizmo Duck, when they have met, having a rivalry.
Yeah, exactly.
So like the fact that it's just more everything.
There's a lot of great Easter eggs in this.
Mm-hmm.
But no, I mean, I really liked how they brought him up and all that. But before we get to the final ending, is there anything you wanted to bring on about Drake Mallard?
Not Drake Mallard, but we would be remiss if we didn't talk about the director, Alistair Bruce-Swan.
I was just about to get to that.
Who is voiced by Edgar Wright, of all people.
And for those who don't know, he's the guy behind Shaun of the Dead.
Is he?
Baby Driver?
Baby Driver would be his most recent. He was originally very famously set to direct the Ant-Man movie, but that
fell apart because like Kevin Feige established the universe already and didn't quite fit with his vision at the time.
Yeah. And he had even, I think, been announced to direct an Ant-Man movie, like even before the MCU. It was a whole thing. But it's so very funny because like he's actually playing a bit of a spoof or a riff on Christopher Nolan.
Oh no, that's blatantly
In fact, the whole Darkwing Duck reboot is very much a Dark Knight, like kind of spoof, which is so fitting because Darkwing Duck in many ways originally is kind of a bit of a spoof on Batman, but just the superhero comic book genre in general.
Yeah.
Like watch the original Darkwing Duck. Like I feel like that was such a show ahead of its time, especially now when we're living in a post-Endgame world.
Exactly. And to kind of add to that trivia a little bit, funny thing about Edgar Wright is when I was originally looking him up before I watched the episode, when I YouTube searched his name, one of the first few things that came up was an Edgar Wright interviews Christopher Nolan or vice versa video.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, oh, cool. So they're like fans of each other. So as soon as this episode started and he came up blatantly as a Christopher Nolan character, I was like, that's beautiful. That's perfect. They seem to know each other really well.
And the fact that he didn't get to make his superhero movie almost like a nod to the whole Ant-Man thing. And then the studio itself, like it's Scrooge McDuck Studios, and the logo is within a cartoon universe. I know it's kind of weird, but a cartoon version of Scrooge that's posed in the way similar to the Mickey from the Disney animation logo.
Yeah.
And it's all just so funny.
The whole thing is great. And
like not to cut you off, but even like the reboot of in the reboot of the movie, the actor playing Megavolt.
Yes.
It's Megavolt clearly, but it's also very much like he's in a Bane outfit from
Tom Hardy's Bane.
It's like there's so much everything. Like we could not do it justice. I have a list of like all the trivia right here, and like we could not do it justice how many nods to so many things there are. This episode is so witty, so great. Like watch it and look it up yourself because like we couldn't do it justice, I feel.
Yeah. Look up the trivia yourself. There's so much good stuff. Mm-hmm. We kind of need to wrap up real soon because I know this is way longer than the previous one, but totally worth it in my opinion.
Worth it.
Let's talk about that ending twist.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God. It's tragic. It's a little sad, but it makes so much sense to me and got me super excited for this potential Darkwing Duck reboot. Mm-hmm. That is the creation and birth of Negaduck.
Well, you play that you either die the hero or live long enough to become the villain, and that has happened here. In a moment of kind of remembering who he is, Jim tries to save Drake and Launchpad from an exploding Tesla. He gets blown up. Everyone thinks he's passed. Drake then takes on the mantle of Darkwing Duck and is like, I could do this for real.
Which is like, you want cool. Dark and gritty?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then we find down in the sewers the colors of his costume dripping off, almost like a kind of like the Mr. Mime from the Powerpuff Girls. You remember that villain?
Yeah, no, I do.
Almost like that. And we just see that Jim is alive in the sewer. And Matt, please tell us what happens. I'm just...
Hey, he just says like, hey, all right, fine. You want this dark and gritty? you got it. And he just like turns around. He's like all like gnarly and like sharp tooth laughing like an evil villain.
And his costume has changed to
yellow
Duck
with a red hat.
Yeah.
A black visor.
Mm-hmm. It's just so good. There's even a point prior to that where he's still Jim. He just pulls this chainsaw out of nowhere and you're like, oh
my.
And you're kind of like, oh man, is that just going to be like a nod to it? And that's just like, nope, he's now Nega. It's just so good.
He is Nega Duck. And I just thought it was great. And what's cool is when I remember looking up the trivia, apparently that was also a nod to how Batman's villain Clayface was made.
Yeah, I've heard some people say Clayface. I've even heard some people say Two-Face. There's a lot of
Two-Face.
No, but there's a Clayface
mix between
one
both.
Too. Yeah, like there's so much everything in here. It's just great.
I just got super excited. That's my inner child just getting super giddy. I feel like that this episode, I don't know if you ever watched Supernatural, but I remember a long time ago when Supernatural was like almost in its 10th season or something. Mm-hmm. They wanted to make a spin-off Supernatural show, and a lot of people are like, oh, we want this character or that character from the main cast to kind of have their own little adventures. But then the CW proposed an episode where Sam and Dean from Supernatural go to Chicago and like meet like a whole family of like either werewolves, vampires, or whatever the hell even. Mm-hmm. And they try to make like one of those teen drama, almost like Romeo and Juliet type things, Godfather-y, where it's like, oh, look at this family. It's like, and it was officially dubbed as like the pilot for that series, mm-hmm. but no one cared mm-hmm. or gave a poop. And I was like, okay, whatever. This
mm-hmm. is how you do it.
This is how you do a pilot mm-hmm. within like a show that already exists.
Yeah.
I really hope that this show gets enough viewership and makes Disney really consider and greenlight a Darkwing Duck.
I think it is, because you actually, if you Google at the time of this recording, DuckTales right now, it actually just pulls up this Darkwing Duck episode. You don't even see like an article about DuckTales proper. It's just Darkwing Duck. So like, hopefully like this reaches the ears of some people.
I think it's going to happen. If there's like a D23 or some kind of like television con or animation con coming up.
No, Matt, you fool.
What?
Darkwing Duck takes Comic-Con.
Oh, no, you could be right. Like maybe in the upcoming Comic-Con.
They rent out Hall H for Darkwing Duck. I would lose my mind.
That'd be hilarious. But no, I have a feel. I'm just spitballing here. Maybe at this year's Comic-Con, they might actually announce it or something.
Yeah.
You never know. You never know. But no, I just like the whole creation of this character, his new backstory, and the fact that it's technically fresh. Mm-hmm. Launchpad gets to fill his dream as being a sidekick to a Darkwing Duck. Mm-hmm. They can share that knowledge. And also, we have room where Gosling could be a character. Mm-hmm. As well as a few other crossovers. We'll probably get new villains.
We would probably, because a lot of the classic ones have been shown and appeared within the context of the show.
And if they just like have copycat people who mimic them, mm-hmm. that might look a little cheap, but who really knows? Mm-hmm. All I know is I'm really excited. I hope this does get picked up and we get some more DuckTales and Darkwing Duck crossover.
Well, considering a lot of the Darkwing Duck villains that we know from the Rogues Galaxy, like... well, I won't name names because I don't want to spoil it in case people don't know who has been shown yet. But like, a lot of them were kind of spoofs or parodies of comic book villains that people were aware of at the time.
Yeah.
And like, I think now, especially with the way the movies have gone, there's a lot more comic book villains that people are familiar with that I would love to see them take a crack at spoofing up in that Darkwing style.
No, that'd be really cool. I'd be totally down for that. Now, before we wrap up here, I do want to ask you something because I was thinking about this last night, saying how much I love Darkwing Duck, and I really like DuckTales, mm-hmm. this incarnation. Mm-hmm. For me, I could see them sharing the same universe. Mm-hmm. Maybe it's a little bit of a stretch, but I can also see a Goof Troop universe existing within this as well, because mm-hmm. we've seen like dog, people, animals in the background. Mm-hmm. Correct me if I'm wrong, because again, I didn't watch a lot of these Disney shows. Technically, with the source material, Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers can't exist in this universe, right?
No, because Chip and Dale exists in a world where there's people. And there's even a joke in the last episode of Fawn Drake saying, in case a race of hyper-intelligent, hairless apes take over the world.
So yeah, that's what I was thinking, because I was like, I remember they were small, mm-hmm. and they were technically pets and all that, mm-hmm. but they were actual humans, not like ducks.
There were actual humans in the world. Like they could maybe fiddle with that aspect a little bit. But I mean, we do know at least Cape Suzette is in this universe. So we could get a tailspin out of this as well.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say too. Because the other one I could think of is Tailspin with like Baloo or the.
Oh, and we already have the gummy bears canonical in this universe as well. Yeah. And that you could have set just in the past, the way it's set up in this universe.
Yeah, and they could change that too, because if I remember correctly, and I've never seen the show, but even in the opening title, the gummy bears lived alongside humans.
Yeah, but that's something I think you could change.
Yeah, but they could just change to like animal duck cartoon people. So
yeah, and not to mention like, well, we haven't. I don't think have we seen a bear character in this incarnation yet.
I want to say yes.
Right.
But maybe as like a typecast of something.
Maybe. I can't recall. But like there were also just like the ogres that were in the Gummy Bears too and stuff. Like there's a lot you can do to get around that aspect more than I think you could Chip and Dale.
Yeah. Because I'm thinking like if Darkwing Duck does well and they expand to like other properties, I could see Goof Troop being in it. Definitely Tailspin. Because like I said before in previous channel, I want Shao Kahn to rival
Shere Khan, yeah.
Shere Khan.
Well, how great would that be? Like, who knows how many seasons we're going to get out of this DuckTales reboot? I hope it stays around for a while. Like, how great would it be? Like, if it's like at some point, a few seasons down the road, we're like, yeah, it's really good. It's really fun. But then at the season finale, they just like drop like Shere Khan will be the villain for the next season.
Yeah.
Like the series just gets a whole new, fresh blood. It would just be great.
It'd be epic as hell. But
hey, Disney. We're available if you want to hire.
Oh, yeah. Okay. We'll hire you guys right now just to share those ideas.
Well, I had no idea Disney was in the room.
Oh, yeah, baby.
I had no idea Disney sounded like that either.
I sound just like this, but when the camera's on, hey, everybody, it's me, Mickey.
Oh, goodness gracious. Help us.
Anyway, so as you guys could probably tell in this really long review, we enjoyed the hell out of this episode.
We are, and we're really just gushing at this point.
We are.
But if you see this episode and you're a fan of, the old Disney afternoon, I think you'll be gushing too.
I think so too. Anyway, folks, that'll do it for this review. I want to thank Marc for joining me. I was really happy to have him on for this.
I'm happy. I was happy to be back, and what an episode to come back to.
What an episode. No, totally for sure. I'm looking forward to more. I believe season 3-ish will premiere around September. That's what
either that or it's season 2 still continuing. I'm not quite clear.
I feel like it's still continuing because we're only on episode like 16, and last season was like 20.
Yeah, so we'll be back in September when DuckTales is back in September.
Absolutely. Anyway, folks, if you guys enjoyed reviews just like this one, please consider going to my Patreon at patreon.com/Matt Sella. Please consider donating as low as $1 a month. You can do even more. That goes towards my podcast reviews just like this. Art, animation, all kinds of projects, whatever it may be. Any support will go towards me creating content just for you.
Yeah. And if you'd like a preview of your animation, Matt, you did a very lovely Game Grumps animation on their official channel, if I'm not mistaken.
That I did. You can check out the link below for a direct connection, although I'm assuming most of you have already seen it. If not, all that is in the description below. So be sure to subscribe, give this video a like if you enjoyed it, and in the comment section below, let me and Marc know, did you see this episode of DuckTales? Did you like it? Did you not like it? What are your thoughts? Join the conversation. This is Matt Sella.
This is Marc.
And saying thank you all for tuning in.